Good morning, my people. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. What's up? What's up, what's up, what's up? Thank you so much for clicking on this video and joining me. My name is Nicole, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. I've been sober since July 13th of 2015, and I used to do a lot of fucking drugs. A lot of drugs. I was addicted to methamphetamine, cocaine, benzos, opiates, everything you could ever imagine. And I loved to put it in a syringe, honey. Loved it. So, loved it until it started turning against me. So today I want to talk to you guys about psychosis. Meth psychosis, okay? So come on in. Hey, Stacey. Hey, Shauna. Come on in. Don't be shy. Don't be shy, honey. And I'm getting all y'all's names written down for the giveaway and how many times you entered, because you can get 3 entries. And so far, so good. We will have the drawing for the giveaway winners. There's going to be 2 on Friday. Okay? So for those of you guys that have not entered the giveaway, go down a couple posts on my page and read the rules and enter the giveaway. Okay? Okay. So today we're going to talk about meth psychosis. So come on in, y'all. Let's talk about it. I'm going to put my YouTube channel link in the comment section. So if you guys want to follow me over there, you can. It helps me out a lot because I'm trying to build my YouTube channel up enough to where I actually can use that money to pay bills. Do you know what I'm saying? Right now, I don't make enough money to on it to make to be able to pay my bills, but that's my goal. So let's get into it. So it's no secret, you guys, that I struggled with addiction for many years. Okay, I started using methamphetamine around the time that I was 17. Hey guys, good morning, Lynn. Hey Nancy. Around the time that I was 17, I started using methamphetamine in high school. You're probably going like, damn, bitch, why was you using meth at 17? Because I was really insecure. And I felt like if I used methamphetamine, I would lose weight and then I would like myself more. Well, you know what ended up happening? I lost all the weight and I still felt the same way. You know why? Because I was still stuck with me. I couldn't get away from me. It was unhappiness inside of me that I needed to work on internally, right? It was things that I had been stuffing down for the 17 years that I had been alive, you know? And so, and being a 17-year-old girl and continuing my drug addiction, I would just stuff. So I went from 17 and I had a couple of things stuffed down there, right? I mean, how much can a 17-year-old really have, right? I had a good life. I lived with my parents. They took good care of me. I was very fortunate. I came from a good family. And I know that I was very fortunate. I'm blessed. So I really didn't have a lot, but I had a little down there, you know? And then as my addiction progressed, I had more and more things happening to me that I stuffed down instead of addressing, you know? And a lot of the stuff that did happen to me in my addiction was because I was using drugs, right? It was directly correlated to me being in a bad situation, me using substances, blah, 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 right? So when I started using methamphetamine, I didn't start hallucinating right away, right? I actually would use methamphetamine like a normal person would to do things, right? To do projects, to clean my house, to get all my homework done for school. And I would not overdo it, right? Like I'd smoke a little or do a little line, and I was a normal person, right? I was a normal person. 5-hour energy after I quit. Oh God, I don't know if I've ever hallucinated off caffeine, Richie, but I imagine I probably could if I took enough. But I was kind of like normal, right? And that's because I was just getting started out. I was just beginning. I hadn't gotten to that point in my addiction where I had no fear of substances. When I first started using drugs, I had a healthy fear that I could use too much and something bad could happen, you know? As my addiction progressed, like it does, and it got worse, and I started using more, and the amount of drugs that I had to use became more, that's when I started to experience psychosis. And it was because of the lack of sleep. So I would try my hardest, and this is what all my homies would tell me, all the guys that I got high with, because I was one of those girls who had a lot of guy friends. I didn't really hang out with any girls. I still don't hang out with anybody. I'm a loner. But all the guys I would hang out with would tell me, Nicole, you got to get some sleep, dude. Even if it's just little cat naps in between, like you just need to lay down, close your eyes, you know, and try to relax, right? What I can't relax on, I cannot do it. I have tried and tried and tried to do it. The only way that I'm going to fall asleep is if I shoot up a whole bunch and it overamps me and puts me to sleep. But then I wake up and I'm like times 1,000 million, right? And so I couldn't do it. I could not sleep, y'all. So I would start hallucinating. About 3 to 4 days without sleep was when I would begin to lose my mind. I'm just starting, Julie. I'm just starting. So at about 3 or 4 days in, that's when I would start seeing things that were like shadows, right? Not full-blown people or anything like that. Just like somebody passing by out of the corner of my eye. You know how you have your peripheral vision? I would catch things out of my peripheral vision, right? Or I would be watching the TV because when I was living with my friend Nate, he was manufacturing, and so I would sit in his living room and watch the TV monitor that was pointed out towards the driveway and the road and all that, and I would watch for cars as they come up so we would know who was coming, right? Well, watching the TV for so long, you know, my eyes would start to do this weird thing where I would see people, like shapes of people on the fucking screen, you know? And I would tell him, like, is that a person right there? And he's like, dude, you need to, like, really lay down, Nicole. Like, there's nobody there. But I would be swearing that I could see it, you know? And so that's how it would start out. And this was at the very beginning of my methamphetamine addiction, okay? So I'm still young. I'm not shooting up yet, right? And things are like, I'm still young, healthy, and I'm not shooting up. I haven't completely lost my mind, okay? So what would end up happening is I would, you know, see these things, and it would get scary towards the nighttime. That's when I would have the most problems with my hallucinations or psychosis, is whenever it would get to be night. Because at night, I would really, really see shit outside in that darkness, right? I remember one time I was trying to lay in bed and I could see the window was out there, and the window didn't have blinds on it, right? And it was just like a black window. And I could see a person on the other side of the window that's face was like deformed. That looked like a demon. It was like, you know what I mean? Like stuck like that. And his eyebrows were up really high. And I was sleeping in Tara's little girl's room. And I got up and I was fucking so scared. I ran into the living room and I woke her up out of her bed. And I was like, dude, there's somebody outside the window. She's like, Nicole, there's nobody outside the window. I'm like, yes, there is. You've got to come. And it was really, really scary. It was really scary. But those are like some mild psychoses, okay? The worst psychosis that I ever had was when I actually hallucinated shit from my real life, okay? So, for instance, and I'm going to tell you how this started happening. So, as my addiction got worse and worse and worse, and I started to use more and more and more drugs, I got really curious one day when I was over at my friend Nate's house. And all these people were coming out of the back bedroom, and they were all like way higher than I was, right? Like I could tell they were. And so I walked into the back bedroom and I was like, what's the deal? Why are y'all so high? You know, y'all are so much higher than I am. Like, what are y'all doing? And that's when I seen everybody shooting up. And I said, I want to do it, you know, will you shoot me up? And they were like, no, man, we're not going to do that for you, Nicole. And they were telling me, you don't want to do this. This is not something you want to do. And I demanded that they shoot me up. Okay. I said, if you don't shoot me up, I'm going to fucking do it myself, you know, and hurt myself. And so, my friend Tammy and Nate, they fixed me up a shot. and this is the first time I've ever shot a 40 unit shot, okay, y'all? And it looked like syrup that you put on your pancakes. This is back in the day when they actually made meth, like, and not fucking shake and bake either. And so it was super thick, and they made sure to point that out to me, to show me, look, Nicole, look, the bubble barely moves, right? And they gave that to me, and I literally had an orgasm, okay? First of all, that's what happened. And I'm just being honest. Trigger warning. So when that happened, though, after that experience and after that feeling, I wanted that feeling over and over and over again. And that's all I could think about is how good. You have no idea. And this is why meth is so addicting, okay? Because when you first shoot up, man, it is the most amazing feeling you've ever felt in your whole entire life, man. It's scary a little bit because you got to understand, you're going from like a resting place, like being a regular heartbeat, to all of a sudden, you can literally feel everything happening inside of your body. Your heart starts, right? And you can feel your blood. My neck would go red all the way up to my cheeks. You know, I would have red all over my chest, because I would get real hot and my blood pressure would go up, and you can feel it happening. It's a little scary. I was scared too. But then that feeling happens and you're like, whoa. And then it was all worth it then, you know? And I'm not telling you guys to like glorify methamphetamine addiction. I'm telling you guys this because I want you to understand, if you have a loved one who is hooked to meth, I want you to understand why they're hooked to meth, okay? Because as a normal person, or a person who has never done meth, you would think, oh my God, why would somebody want to continue doing that? I mean, they're in hallucinations, they're scared, they don't know who I am, they're picking out their face, they're losing a bunch of weight and look all skeezed out. Why would they possibly want to continue doing a drug like that, right? Baby, that's why. And we will literally chase that feeling to death. Okay. And I kept on thinking, you know, I'll get it again. Eventually I'll feel that feeling again. I never, ever, ever got that feeling again. Ever. And I damn near killed myself with cocaine one time trying to get that feeling. Fucking almost blew my heart up. I fell out, turned blue and everything. My lips were blue and purple. It was really, really scary. But anyway, that's why people get so addicted to it, because it is very, very euphoric. So anyway, after that happened and he gave me the shot, then I had already been up for a couple days, right? So I'd already been seeing this shit out of my peripheral vision and shit like that. And so I was well on my way to a straight breakdown, okay? Okay, y'all gotta hear this. Okay, so that happened. I went into the bathroom and I locked myself in the bathroom for like 8 hours trying to teach myself how to inject drugs on my own, because I didn't know how to, and I didn't want to have to ask them, because I knew they were going to give me a hard time. I didn't want people making my shots up. I wanted to do it on my own. So I sat in that bathroom for 8 hours with water and shot water up to teach myself how to inject myself. But I learned, and I learned, and I know a lot of people have problems. Oh, that scared me. Problems shooting up. But I didn't have no problems. I always had good veins, as long as I was hydrated and shit, you know? So anyway, now I'm shooting up. This is when the transition from hallucinating little shadows and shit happened. So that night in particular, I had just locked myself up in the bathroom and taught myself how to shoot up. And I really don't remember like what happened that whole couple of days after that, because like I said, that was the first time I had ever injected. But I can tell you guys what happened, you know, other times. So now I'm shooting up drugs, right? And this is when my life really started to change. People had always told me, when you use meth, your whole life will fucking come crashing down, right? And I didn't believe them. I thought, no, I can handle it. I'll be fine. And they said, if you start shooting up, you will lose everything. And I was like, no, I can handle it. I'll be fine, right? Within 6 months of shooting up, I caught my felony charge, possession of a controlled substance, which is a Class C felony here in Arkansas. Okay? 6 months. That's all it took. So, they were right. I should have listened. But, anyway, I had been shooting up for 6 months. And the night that we got caught, I'm going to tell y'all what happened. Because this is a good example of hallucinations, too. So, me and this guy named Quincy, they called him Pacemaker Quincy, y'all. He had a motherfucking pacemaker, y'all. A pacemaker. Okay? And he was shooting meth with me. And so, he was one of Nate's friends. And we would go, you know, just running amok, getting shit for Nate, or doing little odd chores that he wanted us to do. Well, I had taken him over to my sister's house, and we went and got my sister high and stayed the night and just got high all night. And then the next morning, we went back to Nate's house, and Nate had asked us to take some packages to some people, some dope. So we got in the car, and I was letting Quincy drive my car. We got in the car, Quincy was driving, and we went over to the Terry twins' house. Known confidential informants, okay? Known. Only I didn't know, right? I was very naive when I started doing methamphetamine. I was very naive to the people to the people that were in that crowd. Like, I was hanging out with some really, really, really fucked up people, okay? And I didn't really know that. I just knew that I was getting high. Well, these fucking bitches, the Terry twins, we went over there, we got them all high, gave them drugs or sold it to them, and we got in my car, and right as we were leaving, one of the girls ran out, to the car, and she was like, hey, do you guys want this? And it was a fucking hookah bong with all these like tubes and shit coming out of it and all kinds of stuff. And so Quincy took it and put it in my trunk. Well, he was driving. We didn't even get a half a mile down the road, and my whole car was surrounded by black SUVs, 2 of those, and marked police cars, like white cars with the red and blue lights on the top, and then like some Buick something or other, okay? So my car is fucking rolling forward. Like, I swear to God, we were still moving. And the detective opens my fucking driver's side door and pulls Quincy out of my fucking car and jumps in the driver's side, slams my car in park. The next thing I know, my door is swinging open, right? And there's a guy fucking screaming at me, get on the ground, right? And so I get on the ground, and I got my, like this, on the ground, and they're telling me not to move, stay on the ground, and they're searching my car and all this shit. And I don't think there's really any drugs in the car. Oh yeah, there was a syringe in my purse with residue from methamphetamine in it. There was some weed in the glove box that was mine, and a pipe, and those hookahs in the trunk. But Quincy had the large amount of meth on him. And so Officer Jessup, I'll never forget him because he knew my sister too. He asked me, DeMayo, that was my maiden name, DeMayo, am I going to find anything that will poke me in your purse or on your person? And I was like, no. And so he was, patting me down. He had a woman, no, he didn't even have a woman come over there. He patted me down, then he had me go like this and lift my thing out and shake it, And then he went into my car and got my purse and found the syringe. And he was pissed because it was, it had the cap on it. He was pissed because he was like, what the fuck, You told me you didn't have anything like that. And I was like, that's not my purse. That's not my purse. Okay? And he was like, Nicole, it has your ID in it. I said, I don't know who the fuck's purse that is. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That ain't my motherfucking purse. That ain't even my wallet. And I swear to God, I was going back and forth with him about it not being my purse. I swore to him I would not claim that purse. I don't care what the fuck he said. or what the fuck was in it. It wasn't my purse. So they knew that me and Quincy wasn't going to say shit, you know. They found 6 to 10 grams of meth on him. It was just a whole bad deal. So they put us in the cop car, both of us together, him right beside me, right in the cop car, which I thought was odd. And they said, Quincy said to me, "Don't worry, I'm going to get us out of here. Just call everybody you know in my cell phone and try to get somebody up here to help bail us out." And I was like, okay. Because he for some reason knew that they would let me make phone calls, but not him. So they took us there to the jailhouse, and this is where I started hallucinating. They took us to the jailhouse. They put us in separate interrogation rooms. But our rooms are side by side, and here's him. He's on the other side of the wall. I'm right here, and he's banging on the wall. Like, I can hear him over there, right? And so I knew not to say a motherfucking thing. But they left me in there for, like, fucking ever before they came in. So while I was in there, I seen the vent. I don't know what it is about me and these damn fucking vents, y'all. But I seen the vent, and that's where I thought a detective was in the vent watching me. Just watching me, right? Video cameraing me or something. And I could see his face plain as fucking day in this fucking vent, right? I was getting mad. I was like, "You think you're gonna fucking record me?" And I was talking shit to this fucking vent. Well, I don't know how long I was talking shit to the vent, but then one of the detectives came in and he was like, "Who are you talking to? There's nobody in here. Who are you talking to, DeMayo?" You know? And I was like, "I know y'all are trying to fucking record me. I can see him fucking up there right now." And this is what I would do. I would fucking pop off and be so fucking crazy. "I can see that motherfucker up there right now." And he was like, "Nicole, there's nobody in the vent." He was like, "If anything, if we would have a camera there, but not no fucking human being, you know?" And he sat down in front of me, and that's when he started to interrogate me, you know, asking me where I got the dope, asking me who all we use drugs with. And I told him, I said, I don't know. I just met this guy, and I really don't know anything about him. You know, I just met him. This was like my first time really using meth intravenously, which was a lie. And I don't really know, because I had never been in trouble, right? I think the only trouble I had gotten in was when I was 17 and I got a public intox. That's it. And I had no criminal record, you know? And so I told him, I said, "I really, really just don't know." And he was getting upset with me, and he was like, "You don't know. We know, we've seen your car at Nate's house over and over and over again, right?" And I was like, "Who's that?" You know, and he was like, he was trying to get me to talk about Nate, because Nate was like cooking out there, right? And I was like, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what you're talking about." And that's it. I'm not going to say shit. And so he got up and left, and that's when they pulled me out, and they allowed me to make a couple phone calls, right? Well, I had called probably, I don't know how many people I called, but I called a pretty good amount of people, and I found one of our friends to come up and bail us out. So he came up and bailed us out, and that was it. We were off like thieves in the night, dude, going to get high even more. And when I tell you guys, I was so afraid when I was in that fucking police station. I was crying. I was so afraid. I was so upset because I knew I had fucked up. I knew right then and there that I had fucked up, right? Well, that was a Friday. Sunday, I went to go see my parents, and the newspaper had come out. And I was on the front page of the fucking newspaper. Little old me, right? And Quincy on the front page of the newspaper. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's not like we were some kingpins or something like that, but it was bad. It was bad. My dad had the newspaper when I walked in the door. My dad had the newspaper, and he was like, "You have fucking embarrassed this family. You have put a bad cloud of darkness over our name," right? Because my dad worked really hard. We had a good reputation in our town. We were loved by people. We had many people that we hung out with, my parents hung out with, that we were all friends with, and you know, just It was terrible. It was terrible. And the thing about it was, everybody had been calling my mom and dad. Okay? All these people that I got high with who knew my parents would either go home and tell their parents, or their parents were people that were using with me, or they knew my mom and dad. And they were calling my parents on their landline and leaving messages saying, we're worried about Nicole. Nicole's shooting up. She's over at this house. This is the address. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? People are calling my parents and telling them that I'm getting fucked up, right? What the fuck? And so, man, when I'm telling you guys, like, I got so depressed and I was so mad at myself because I knew I had fucked up that I just went on a horrible, horrible bender, right? And I found myself back over at Nate's house getting high one night. And this was the stupidest, most scariest shit that I've ever been through. I've talked about it a little bit, but I don't think I've ever told you guys. I had been over there. I had been up for a couple days. I was injecting. I was shooting up. I was tired, though, and I wanted to go to sleep, right? So I asked Nate, hey, have you got a Xanax or something? And he was like, no, but I got an Oxy. This was back when they had Oxycontin 80s. Okay? And I was like, hell yeah, motherfucker, give me that. You know, give me an Oxycontin 80. And so he gave me half of it. I was like, that'll work. You know, and so I took the Oxycontin 80, and I thought, okay, now I'll be able to relax, lay down, you know, get some shut-eye. And so that was the plan, for me to get some shut-eye. Well, for some reason, at any time that I use drugs, I'm not going to sleep. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't know why I even try. I don't know why I even fool with myself and think that it will happen. Okay? So, of course, I wasn't sleeping. So I came in the living room and I was sitting down on the couch, and these two guys came over, these two gay guys, right? And they were like, what's up, everybody? And they asked me, I'm going to wear these today, they're cute. They said, hey, does anybody want to do acid? And I was like, what the hell, I'll do it, you know? Yeah, sure, let's do it. And so they gave me 2 sweet tarts, just regular sweet tarts with the S on them. And I was like, I just took them. I just popped them right in my mouth without even thinking about it, you guys. I popped them right in my mouth, and the next thing you know, I started to trip. I started to trip, but it was not a good trip, right? I started to trip, and I started to get really, really scared. Okay? I started thinking in my mind that my friends were plotting against me, that Nate and Tammy were like leaving me out, because what happened was, when we had our little experiment when we shot up and for my first time that night, we actually all ended up hooking up together. And so I had been kind of hooking up with both of them, you know, and I really liked Tammy. I don't think I've ever told you all this, but this was like my little experience with like hooking up with a girl and actually liking her, right? And so I had really liked Tammy. And so I thought that they were like hooking up together behind my back without me. Like, I was really upset, right? Well, a couple hours passed by and they said, let's go to Walmart. Okay? And I did not need to go anywhere. I was in a bad way. But I was like, okay. And so I got in the car with them and we drove to Walmart, and I walked inside the Walmart, y'all. And when I walked in that Walmart and then fucking lights hit my eyes, I was fucking scared shitless. I fucking ran out of that motherfucker so fast and got in the back of that fucking Jeep and laid down and hid in the fucking fetal position in the back of this Jeep. I was so afraid. I don't know what it was about those glowing fluorescent lights, but I could not handle it. And so I went and lay down. It felt like it was 3 hours before they got back, right? But they finally came back and we went back to the house. While we were at the house, you guys, I was trying to lay down. And this is when, like, I swear to God, it was like demons. Demons were in the room with me. Like, I could see them in the room around the bed, like taunting me, like talking to me almost like, well, Nicole, you've done it again. You're going to fucking die. You're going to pop your heart. You're hallucinating right now. The acid, you're not going to ever come back from this trip. Like, all these horrible, like, mean things were being said to me by these little, like, it was like a demon presence. I don't know how to explain it any other way. And so I got up real fast and I walked out in the living room. I grabbed my keys and I was like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here, right? I'm going to my mom and dad's right now. And so I got my keys. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. I had a donut on my fucking right front tire, but I was like, fuck the shit, I'm driving. And so I got in my car and I started driving towards my mom and dad's house. Now, where Nate lives, I had to go up Airport Road like 2 or 3 miles, maybe 4 miles, then get on the interstate, cross over, get off on the interstate, and then I had to go straight down Airport Road to Southmore Road. It's probably like 20, 30 miles, okay? And so I was almost there, and I seen a gas station. The Valero gas station was on the right. And all of a sudden, as I'm driving, it was like this, black, and it was coming in like this until it was completely black, and I couldn't see anything. So I want you to imagine this. I know that it's going black, and so I'm driving, and I veer off to the right, so to where I go into the parking lot of the Valero, and I pull right up to the front and threw my car into park, and I got out, and I started hyperventilating. I could not breathe. I was like, I could not get my breath, right? So I ran into this Valero, and I collapsed behind the cash register, said, please call the ambulance, right? Call 911. And so she did. She got me a paper bag. I was trying to breathe in it. I can only imagine how skeezed the fuck out I looked. I can only imagine how crazy I looked. And the ambulance came. They gave me oxygen, and they were trying to get me to get in the ambulance to go to the emergency room, right? I said, hell no, I'm not going with y'all. This is what happens, y'all, every time. I said, I'm not going to the fucking ER, right? I'll stay here. I'm fine. And so I told them to go on about their, day. They left me there. And I decided I was okay. And then I was going to go to my mom and dad's house. So I was driving to my mom and dad's house. My dad, I knew, was already at work. And my mom was already gone too. And so I got there. I got the key out from the little, wherever it was that they had hidden. And I went inside. And when I got into my mom and dad's house, they had this brown carpet in the living room. And it was like, I don't know what happened, but in my mind, there was drugs in this brown carpet, right? And I needed to get these drugs because I needed them. I was in that fucking floor for I don't even know how long. I had called my mom and said, Mom, I really need you to come home. I'm in a bad way. I might need to go to the doctor or something. And so my mom was on her way home. And my mom has talked about this on my reels. There's a video about it. My mom walked in and she found me on the carpet, like, I don't know, I had a magnifying glass, right? And she was like, Nicole, get up. What are you doing? And I was like, oh, Mom, it's not a big deal. Like, it's totally, I'm just trying to get what I need to get. She even tells me, when you were acting like it was normal, that you were on the ground, basically with one of those really fine-tooth combs, trying to find something in the carpet, right? She was like, you were acting like it was just a regular day, right? And you were just doing your job. And so she said, come on, I'm going to take you to the ER. Because she knew that there was something wrong with me, right? And she took me to the ER, and they gave me fluids, a bunch. I had gotten so dehydrated, you guys, so dehydrated. And I told them I had been shooting meth, took an oxy, and then did acid. And so they just gave me the fluids, gave me some Valium, but they made me stay there for like 6.5 hours, just monitoring me. Because I was just so scared. Like, I really believed that what I was seeing when I was at Tammy and Nate's house, I believed that this like evil spirit was coming for me, and that these little demons had been sent down to basically like to fuck and end me, right? And so I was really afraid. And for the longest time, you guys, I couldn't go to sleep without a light on in my bedroom. I had to sleep with a light on because every time I closed my eyes, I could see these little entities, these little demon things. And they weren't like gremlins. They were worse than that. And it was like at the same time, while I was feeling it and seeing it, I could feel like they were sucking my soul from me. You know what I mean? Like, it was very intense, very intense. But I believe that if I hadn't been high on meth, I don't think I would have had a bad trip at all. But because I combined those drugs, my psychosis and hallucinations got even worse, you know? And I'm telling you guys these stories, not because I'm like reminiscing, because that shit was horrible, okay? Hey, Chris. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Tommy. Hey, Julie. That shit was horrible. Like, I don't want to go back to that life ever again. Ever. I don't want to do that, right? But I'm telling you guys this because, like, I know a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about, and I want other people to understand. Like, I think that a lot of people who see people who do, like, meth and other drugs, they think, why would somebody do that to themselves, right? Why would they want to feel like that? And I just want people to understand, like, it's such a strong feeling, right, when you use methamphetamine, that it's so tempting to return to, right? And if you're a drug addict, like, you know, like I am, then it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just very, 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 very strong and intense. And so that was probably one of the scariest things, because I was seeing, you know, these demons, and I believe in God, okay? And so one of the things that I really struggled with in my active addiction was the fact that I knew that I was doing wrong, and I was going against what my higher power, what God would want me to do. And I felt like a failure, you know? I felt that in my heart. I felt horrible all the time. And so that was like a common occurrence for me, to have like a hallucination of like a demon or the devil coming after me, you know? And I cannot stress to you guys enough, like, how real it was. Oh, I cannot stress it enough. But anyway, that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about meth psychosis, because I really want to explain to people how scary it is, how scary and real it is, you know? And so if you have a significant other, because I think a lot of you guys have been reaching out to me about your loved ones who are struggling with meth addiction, okay? Hold on, we're going to put y'all down here. A lot of y'all have been reaching out to me, telling me that your loved ones are hallucinating and stuff, right? Asking me if they're going to be okay and that kind of thing. And I can honestly tell you that I hope they'll be okay. You know, everybody's different. But I wanted to come on here and kind of really spotlight, you know, how scary it is to be in that position, high on drugs and hallucinating. Oh, it's fucking scary, man. It's scary. And you are like, it's real. At that moment, it is real, real, real. I'm trying to put these shirts somewhere. That's not going to work, though. So that way I can, because I don't have enough room to hang them up. If your significant other is using and they're experiencing what I experienced, take them to the ER, okay? Take them to the emergency room. Let them get some help, okay? Because they need something to help them come down. You know, if they're hallucinating and they're saying mean things to you, I promise you guys, they don't mean that. Okay, they don't mean that. They love you. They love you. They're just struggling, you know. I hope that helps you guys, because I had probably like 4 messages last night of women who their husbands were on meth, and they were really, really scared that they weren't going to come back, you know. So, really, Nancy? Yeah. Yeah, so that's crazy. That's something that, you know, I probably would do too. But I would tell myself, you know, that the reason why this was happening was because I was going against my heart, what God wanted me to do, right? God wants me to be healthy and happy and not shooting meth. And I was doing the direct opposite. So, what else y'all want to talk about? That's my meth psychosis stories. I got another one I could tell y'all, but it's really funny. I guess I could tell it to you real fast. So, one of the funniest times and most convincing hallucinations that I saw was when I was, you're welcome, Julie. I was over at my friend Gerald's house, and I tell stories about Gerald all the time because we used to get high together all the time. I was over at my friend Gerald's house. I had been up for days, and I had actually just come from the emergency room. That smells good. The emergency room, because I had been at Tara's house, and while I was at Tara's house, I thought that there was blue Roxy's all over the carpet. I had hallucinated that there was all these pills on the carpet. So I was on the carpet trying to fucking get these pills, and I got whatever I thought was these Roxy's, and I shot it up. And when I tell you guys, I spiked a fever and I got so sick, I walked out the front door and I was jibber jabbering to people that weren't there and all kinds of crazy shit. And her neighbor seen me and called 911. Brought me out a big ass glass of cold lemonade, and the cops came. When the cop got there, he called the ambulance because he realized I was out of my mind. And the ambulance came and got me and took me to the ER. When I tell you guys, I was in this fucking ER for like 7 hours, it felt like, just waiting to be seen. And so when they finally got me back to a room, I said, fuck this shit, and I left AMA. I left AMA. I don't know what happened, Julie. Could have been, I don't know how, I know that cotton fever can make you have like a flu and shit, but I imagine it was probably something like that. I had shot up like cat shit, okay? Like she had the nastiest, dirtiest house, y'all, okay? And whatever I shot up, and that needle was what made me sick, right? So they were taking their sweet ass time in that fucking emergency room. So I left AMA, okay? And I had boxers and a t-shirt on and a pair of flip-flops. And I went walking down the street. It's like midnight by this time. And I got a ride from my old sponsor. I ended up staying at her house. Her husband got my car, and I tried to take a cat nap. Well, I didn't sleep. So the next morning, I went to Gerald's. I had stayed up. I had been shooting meth with him and shooting Roxy's with them. And I had started to hallucinate. I was sitting in a recliner, and the whole time that I was sitting there, I looked up at the vent, and Cy from Duck Dynasty was in the vent. He was sticking his head out of the vent. His little white beard was hanging down. And every time I would look up, he would be like this with his little beard hanging out. For some reason, I thought that I was in this recliner, and I thought that I was on top of a catapult, right? And that he was going to cut this fucking rope, and it was going to throw me backwards and out of the trailer, right? That I don't know why I sat there for like 6 hours. And all this was in my mind because I had been watching Duck Dynasty on TV. And that's why a lot of the things that I would hallucinate would be things that I would be in my real life, right? That would be like my boss. And I would see her all the time. Why you? I love telling people my stories, Rochelle. If you don't like it, kick rocks. That's simple as that. I share my experiences with drugs to help other people, and I might say I've been pretty successful doing so. So, if you don't like it, get gone. I had sat there, and this was the most miserable feeling in the whole wide world, right? Sitting there and thinking that any minute you could fly out of the trailer. It was so dumb, but so real at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was such a dumb thing, but I believed it. I was asking Gerald. Anyways, I could not sleep, right? And so I said, man, please give me a Seroquel. Please, I need to sleep. And so he did. And that was what fucked me all off. It sent me over the edge. And that's when I left the house in the middle of the night and went walking down the road, right? Well, I mean, you can imagine how that would come across as a rude comment. So, wow. I mean, what do you expect for me to say? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. I'm sitting here and I'm telling a story, and I'm like really trying to share my story, and then I read this across the screen. Okay? So I remind myself every day because I am a chronic relapser. Okay? All it takes is one time for me to forget what the fuck happened, and I'll be back out there. That is why I talk about it, because I need a reminder too. And so do a lot of other people. If you think what I'm talking about is fun, or you think that like I want to go back there, like, no, I share my stories to help other people. Okay? And a lot of people gave me pushback about it for a long time, you guys. But let me just explain something to y'all. We don't reach people who are struggling with drug addiction by talking about recovery 24/7. I bet you if you're in active addiction and you follow me, it's because you could relate to my stories. How many of you guys have watched me tell my stories and you guys have followed me because of that? Because you could relate to it and you felt like I was actually connecting with you, right? I learned a long time ago that, like, sitting up here and preaching about recovery all day long, people can't connect to that, okay? People don't understand that. A lot of people don't have any recovery, right? And so we do a lot of recovery stuff over here. We spend all night long talking about our struggles, talking about my struggles, what I do to get through it, how do I overcome it, talking about CPS and how they took our kids, how can we get our kids back, working together doing that, you know? And so these are just instances where I get to sit down and I get to share with you guys how bad it got for me, you know, because it got really bad. And while I share these crazy ass stories that I can laugh at now because now I'm sober, right? I hope and I pray that it helps somebody else. But there's literally a title on this video that says meth psychosis. That's what we're going to be talking about. So that's your cue and a reminder to you that if it's something that will bother you, just don't watch. It's okay. You don't have to watch it, you know? But if somebody comes on my comment section and says something, you know, I'm just going to say it to you. And I'm a very loud, talkative person, very blunt and to the point. So, you know, just be aware of that because, you know, I could pop off. And honestly, I'm not mad. I just get annoyed by that. You know, it's annoying when you're trying to share something to have somebody ask you, well, why would you share this? It's annoying. Okay? So that's why I share it. I hope that helps you to understand. If you have any questions, you could always private message me and ask me, and I would tell you there in a text. Okay? Okay. So anyway, I got the Seroquel. I tried to go to sleep, you guys, and I didn't sleep, and I just went farther and farther into this deep ass fucking psychosis. So I took off walking out the front door. And that's when I told you about my work. I saw Miss Brewer. I saw Mr. Maxwell. I saw all these people from my job, right? And I went up on this lady's porch. I scared this lady so bad because I was trying to sweep her porch because I was hallucinating that there were just crazy weed brownies on this lady's porch that was like a mile high. So they called the ambulance, and I got in the ambulance, and I was so afraid of that fucking ambulance driver because I thought he was trying to shoot me up with cocaine. Anyway, it got really, really bad. They took me to the ER, you guys, and this is where I went into a 7-day coma. And so I got to the ER, hallucinating, seeing all the people from my job, just seeing people that I, you know, worked with in everyday life. People were giving me, you know, one lady was smoking crack and trying to blow the smoke to me. I was seeing like frogs on the walls. It was just really crazy. And the doctor and the nurse kept asking me, like, did you do bath salts? Did you do bath salts? And I was like, no. And I told them what I did. That's one thing about me. Jenny, you gotta go outside? Is I'm always very forthcoming, like, with what's going on. I'm not gonna lie about it, you know? And so, come on, baby, let's go outside. And so I was telling them what I did, and they got the information, and that's when they decided to give me Thorazine and Halidol, okay? So they gave me 1 shot of Thorazine and 1 shot of Halidol, and that literally did nothing, okay? So then they gave me another one, okay? And that's when I went into a coma for 7 days. And my mom was there. She came there when I woke up. She was crying and she said, do you know how long you've been here? And I was like, no, why? She's like, you've been here for 7 days. And when I tell this story, it makes me sad because I can remember thinking in my mind after doing that and waking up how bad I wanted to get out of there so I could go use, you know? So, I was so sick, you know, I just wanted to leave so I could go get high. So anyway, that's that story. I hope y'all, and listen to me, like I said, you guys, I always try to let you know what I'm going to talk about before I talk about it. So if it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, or it makes you don't think you want to listen, I do not mind if you guys don't come to the video, don't watch this video. And I hope everybody understands that. I also hope those of you guys who follow me know that I'm the sweetest person that you'll ever meet in your whole entire life. I give nobody issues. I just, when people come across in a message and I can read it, I don't know what your tone is with me. And so when I'm telling a story and I'm into the story and I'm connecting with you guys and we're talking, and then somebody asks me, why would I tell that story? I take that as a being rude. I take that as, why would you ask me that question? You know what I mean? And so I'm not going to be nice to every person, you know what I'm saying, if you're not being nice back, right? And so, I'm not a pushover either. I actually read my comments and engage with the people in my live streams, okay? A lot of people don't even engage. So, I work really hard to make sure that I read y'all's comments. Even if I don't say anything, I read them, So anyways, love y'all. I was very sick. Exactly. I put myself on a ventilator for 3.5 weeks. Damn, what happened, Rhonda? Yeah. And of course, like, if I could hear tone in it, then it would help. You know what I'm saying? But when you comment, and that's what I tell everybody to be mindful of, when you comment, just remember that people can't see your face. They can't hear your tone. And so it could be taken the wrong way. So, are you ready to go inside now, pee-pee girl? Yeah. She had to go pee-pee. So, what's Dexedrine? Somebody else commented and asked me, I saw the weight loss comment. Thank you, I appreciate it. How am I losing weight? I'm only eating 12 to 1,500 calories a day, and I'm drinking nothing but water. And I've been doing it for like 8 months. People just haven't noticed until now, for some reason. I'm going to start working out soon, and then it'll be a big difference. You'll be able to tell. Damn, it's cold out here. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my little story. You know what I mean? About that. Damn, I'm old. 3 flights of stairs is hard to walk up. Woo. Okay. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate you, girl. And maybe whoever that lady was, maybe I did read her comment the right way or wrong way. Maybe she didn't mean it like that, right? But I honestly I'm suspicious of that, because when I go into somebody's live stream and they're telling a story, I'm not going to be like, why are you telling the story? Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't really know how else I could have taken it. But anyways, that's over and done with. Thank God. No big deal. Whew. Damn, I'm old. Okay, let's take this laundry. This is my t-shirts that I have nowhere to put them. So I'm going to put them in here in my closet, in this box, right here on the shelf. So I need to move this stuff, my shoes, down here, like that. I'm going to put y'all in here and put y'all up there. Oh, yes, good deal. All right, now I feel much better that that's organized, But what are y'all doing? Yeah, you know what I mean, Pam? And I hate that sometimes I get a little bit snippety like that, because I do need to work on that. I shouldn't let people get underneath my skin that easily, but it's hard sometimes. I'm also always on the defense when it comes to social media. Oh, because of how much I have been bullied and harassed. Okay, I have been bullied and harassed so bad that I was suicidal last year. You know, it was bad. And so I always like kind of expect the worst. You know, Carol posted about me every single day. She would talk about my weight. She would talk about my teeth. She posted pictures of my child. Like, it was bad. It was bad. And so I struggled, you know, I still struggle with that. With feeling like shit because of that. So, and that content will be there forever. You know, she's not taking it down. She's not taking it down because she's dead. Because she died, you know. So I have to know that it's there still. But anyway, what are you doing, Jenna? You better not peep in here. I just took you out to go. Yeah. And that whole situation happened because of people calling me a body broker. Which people don't know what a body broker is, obviously. Because if they did, they would know my ass ain't one. A body broker is someone who works for a really bad, unethical treatment center. And they accept payments for putting people in rehab, okay? But they also give the drug addict money to relapse on. They, all kinds of illegal shit, right? And so that's why I get so upset when people say shit like that, because that's a fucking really bad fucking accusation, you know? But I think I've pretty much proven to people that that's not what I do. You know what I mean? I don't work for a rehab. I work for a medication-assisted treatment doctor. So, okay, there we go. Y'all are doing my chores with me. Okay, that's Nate's clothes folded. After this, I'm going to take a shower. And every person that's ever reached out to me, any person that's reached out to me, you can ask every person, I always give them options. I never ever force anybody to go into any kind of program. I always give them options. Because I'm not like connected to any certain treatment center. You know, I don't have to send anybody anywhere, right? My job doesn't depend on that. And so there are some people here on Facebook whose their jobs do depend on that. But, you know, that's their prerogative, right? It's not mine. So there we go. It's not my business. Love you, Pam. Thank you. Rhonda, I hope my story didn't make you guys upset or anything. I'm really just sharing my experiences, you know? And I really wanted to talk about meth psychosis today because of all the messages that I've been getting from women who have husbands who are on meth. Here you go, Jenna. I'm going to put this right here, okay? And I know you like it. Okay. And so I wanted to talk about that. So I love you guys. That's the end of the story for today. I'm going to go take a shower. First, I'm going to vacuum. Then I'm going to go take a shower. But I really just wanted to come on here and share that story with you guys. If you have a loved one who's experiencing meth psychosis, like I said, there's nothing you can do to pull them out of it. Send them to me, Rhonda. There's nothing you can do to pull them out of it, okay, guys? Like, you need to protect yourself. If it's really bad, like, take them to the hospital, you know? Because basically with meth psychosis, it has to run its course. And then I've even met people, you guys, who after they've gotten off meth, they still have really bad paranoia and psychosis. I think what happens is maybe they had an underlying mental health issue like schizophrenia, and taking meth exasperates it. You know what I mean? So just be really careful. And also, like, all drugs are addicting, but I just really, lately I've learned about meth and how it releases 1,000 more dopamine into our brain than any other substance. And so I've just been really fascinated with that, you know. But all drugs suck. All drugs suck. And if you're somebody who's struggling with drug addiction, I hope that, you know, from hearing my stories and stuff, I hope you see, guys, that I am no better than you. We are the same, right? We are all on the same level. Just because I like to come on live and make videos and talk about my life, you know, and share my stories and stuff, it doesn't mean that I'm like healed or I'm superior. I am literally just like you. I could walk out of this door tomorrow, go out and get high and relapse and die, right? I could make a bad decision. I'm one decision away from ruining my life. All of us are, right? And so every single day I practice really hard on reminding myself how bad I was on my addiction, because I don't want to go back. And number two, working on sharing and healing and getting that shit out of me so that way somebody else can help me carry that burden, you know? So I love you guys, and I will see y'all later on this evening. Okay? All right. Bye, y'all.